Last night, Israel faced an unprecedented escalation. Over 180 ballistic missiles were launched from Iran, targeting key strategic points across the country. This marked a deliberate and dangerous escalation in this war. These missiles, with warheads weighing between 700 kilograms to over a ton, were aimed at both civilian and military targets, including attempts to strike Israel's Dimona nuclear facility and several airports. This shows the direct involvement of Iran in this conflict. Beyond the proxies that they relied on for years, this time they attacked Israel directly. Many of these missiles were intercepted thanks to the joint efforts of Israel's advanced air defense systems and the United States CENTCOM forces. But the attack was not without cost. Missile debris injured civilians, and there were reports of a Palestinian casualty near Jericho. We also saw an attack in northern Tel Aviv, where missile fragments caused injuries as people rushed to the shelters. Israel responded swiftly. Within hours, the IDF struck over 150 Hezbollah military infrastructures in southern Lebanon. This attack has sent a clear message to Iran and its allies. Israel will not tolerate these provocations. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground live report. Today, we bring you the critical updates from the battlefield. It's day 362 of this war against Hamas, Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed Houthis, and various militias operating out from Iraq and Syria. As always, make sure to subscribe and follow to receive additional updates. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. We want to reach 1 million subscribers before the end of this year and spread the truth of what is happening in Israel. Now let's dive into the details of what happened over the past 24 hours. This is a war like no other. We are seeing Israel targeted directly by Iran in a manner we haven't seen before. For the second time, Iran has engaged with us not through its proxies like Hezbollah or Hamas, but directly. This highlights the shift in the conflict. Israel is now fighting on multiple fronts, and Iran is stepping up its direct involvement. Just last night, Iranian forces launched an aggressive missile strike. These weren't just small, but large ballistic missiles aimed at critical infrastructure. The majority of these missiles were thanks to Israel's Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 defense systems with assistance from the United States forces. However, a small number of missiles breached our defenses, causing damage in areas including northern Tel Aviv. One Palestinian civilian lost his life near Jericho, and many others suffered minor injuries as they ran for shelters. We have seen direct attacks on major population centers all across Israel. This is more than a proxy war. This is a clear Iranian provocation. Their strategy was to hit critical infrastructures in Israel, knowing that their missiles are not entirely accurate and could land in civilian areas. Iran intended to trigger a massive response from us by targeting sensitive locations in the Jewish state. Let me give you some strategic details about Iran's ballistic missiles. These missiles weren't just any ordinary rockets. Iran launched some of its most advanced long-range ballistic missiles. We're talking about missiles like the Fatah, the Imad, and the Qadar. These missiles have a range that goes between 1,400 to 2,000 kilometers, and they were equipped with advanced warhead, some weighing up to 1 ton. These were meant to cause devastating damage to Israelis all across the Jewish state. The Fatah missile, in particular, is one of Iran's more sophisticated ballistic missiles. It has maneuverable warheads designed to evade radar systems. This is a dangerous escalation, and while our defense systems performed incredibly well, the sheer scale of the attacks show just how prepared Iran is for a large confrontation. Israel cannot and will not allow such provocations to go unanswered. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said it clearly, Iran made a mistake and they will pay for it. Israel is now considering various response options, including strikes on Iran's oil refineries and nuclear facilities. This could happen within days, and when they do, it will send shockwaves throughout this region. This is a very possible way for an escalation, and I would like to involve my colleague, Mati Shoshani, for a brief analysis on the situation. Mati?
Yeah, it's good to be with you again. What's essential to understand is the broader regional implication of this attack. Iran is not only targeting Israel directly, but they're also sending a message to their proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, and of course, the Houthis in Yemen. This missile strike was not just about damaging Israel. It was about showing their allies that Iran is still the leader of the so-called axis of resistance, those forces they cooperate with in the Middle East. However, there's a serious consequence for Iran. The targeted killings of key figures like Hassan Nasrallah in Lebanon, of course, Ismail Haniyeh earlier in Tehran, have weakened Iran's influence over its proxies. They've lost some of their control over this region. Tehran is now trying to restore its image, but the fact that Israel is capable, and has, of directly hitting these figures has damaged Iran's credibility in this region. Moreover, Israel's response will likely be calculated, but severe, as we've seen in recent days. We're looking at a potential strike on Iran's oil facilities, one of the most critical sectors of their economy. The Wall Street Journal reported that Israel has already communicated to Iran that any further aggression will be met with strikes on key strategic targets, including their nuclear program. So like you said, Yael, this has been a very, very tense 24 hours. And everyone around the world is waiting to see what Iran will do next.
Yeah, thank you, Mati, for this analysis. Israel has already launched several retaliatory strikes. The IDF targeted and destroyed over 150 Hezbollah terror installations in southern Lebanon. Division 36 of the IDF is Israel's most powerful armored division, has been deployed, and it's now fully engaged in combat along the northern border. We are seeing heavy fighting in southern Lebanon with Golani Brigade forces, which are an elite unit of the IDF infantry. And the elite commando units also involved in multiple skirmishes against Hezbollah terrorists. So Hezbollah has suffered significant losses, but the threat remains. On top of that, there are reports of growing unrest in Iraq and in Yemen. The Iranian-backed militias in both countries are on a high alert, and Israel's intelligence suggests that further attacks could come from these regions any moment. The IDF is preparing for a broader confrontation across multiple fronts. This is the situation here in Israel and the recent updates. The missile strikes was not the only attack that Israel faced in the last 24 hours. We need to remember that. There was a devastating terror attack in Jaffa, which is a city south of Tel Aviv, in the heart of Israel, where two gunmen opened fire in a crowded street, killing several innocent civilians. Along with the among the dead was a young mother who died protecting her 9-month-old baby. This attack, carried out by Hamas operatives, shows the length our enemies will go to inflict terror on Israeli population. Okay, so the security forces responded swiftly. The Israeli security forces responded swiftly, neutralizing the attackers. This horrific event is a stark reminder that while Israel fights its battles on multiple fronts, the threat of terror is ever present. Israel's enemies seek to instill fear, but we will continue to defend our citizens. Mati, I would like to open this conversation and to ask you to give us a broader understanding of what happened and basically Iran's missile attack. Are we expecting more strikes, more missile attacks in the high holiday of Rosh Hashanah?
Thank you, Yael. Yes, Israel has been on high alert for the last several days, but specifically yesterday. Let's reframe what's been happening over the last 24 hours. In the last 24 hours, the entire state of Israel was on one high alert, anticipating an Iranian attack that came last night in the early hours of the evening, with over 200 rockets launched at the state of Israel. The accurate number is somewhere between 180 to 200 total. What's incredible, what's miraculous, what's amazing about this is that even though the number of projectiles that was launched was so substantial, there were no known casualties or injured Israelis within the state of Israel from that massive attack. In fact, the only person that we know that was severely injured or killed from this was a citizen of Gaza that was in the city of Jericho in the Palestinian Authority. So again, that was incredible. Again, to remind people, yesterday, the IDF, officially at least, entered on the ground into southern Lebanon to start clearing out Hezbollah outposts, weapon caches, and what they found just in the first day of fighting. Now it's been a little over 24 hours of fighting. They found incredible amounts of weapon caches. They found incredible amounts of tunnels dug deep into the bedrock in the southern Lebanon area, entering into Israel. We've also heard reports of the Hezbollah attempts or plans to attack and take over Jewish communities inside Israel, a massive attack including thousands and thousands of highly trained warriors. And again, in similar manner to what happened on October 7th in the Gaza Strip, Hezbollah was planning to rush the Israeli border with thousands of soldiers, heavily armed, and take over communities, kill, and possibly kidnap Israeli citizens in the country, and that has been prevented. But the amount of weapons is so great that we've been hearing reports today that some of them are too great in quantity to carry back into Israel. So the IDF has been having to destroy them within Lebanon itself, just to make sure that Hezbollah doesn't get to take over them again. At the same time, as Yael mentioned, we had a terrorist attack yesterday in Jaffa, south of Tel Aviv, leaving 7 casualties and several other, over a dozen people injured from a brutal attack by 2 armed gunmen. Now we know they were affiliated with Hamas, and we also know that they came out of Hebron, or Hebron, as we say in English, which is south of Jerusalem. So again,
Yes.
we've had more news in 24 hours than you would typically have in the Middle East in 2 years. It's been an incredible, incredible couple days. I want to say this on a faith level. We've been supernaturally protected up till now. And we'll get into the news that's evolving as we speak, but it's been a very substantial couple days. Maybe we transition now and talk about what's been happening in southern Lebanon, because we're getting new reports of the IDF's operations in southern Lebanon. Again, the IDF yesterday invaded on the ground into southern Lebanon. They also released information at the same time indicating that in the last weeks there have been more than 70 special operation forces operations within southern Lebanon to push back, to eliminate, and to clear out weapons from areas that were planned to be stations used to invade the state of Israel. So that happened yesterday through today. And what we're hearing today, and I'll hand this over to you, Yael, is initial reports of the first violent clashes between IDF forces from the 2 large brigades that have entered into southern Lebanon and Hezbollah fighters. The first clashes went with very little resistance. Hezbollah fighters essentially cleared the area that the IDF was entering into. And today, just in the recent hours, we're hearing initial reports of injured on the IDF side and, of course, both on the Hezbollah side. Back to you, Yael.
Yes, Mati. And it is officially was authorized for publication that we have a first casualty in the ground invasion into South Lebanon. A 22-year-old Eitan Yitzhak from Modi'in, which is the center of Israel. He was a commander in a special unit, and he died fighting Hezbollah terrorists in this ground invasion. We have additional reports of intense battles this morning in multiple fronts in South Lebanon. IDF forces are operating in different areas in the eastern part of South Lebanon, and the IDF actually gave the order for the armored division in that area to operate, to fight, meaning tanks and heavy armored vehicles to enter as well, to assist the commando units that are fighting in that area. This war is indeed going to the next level of intensification. And I want to discuss a little bit, Mati, about the cooperation between Israel and its allies. Are we about to see any kind of additional involvement between Israel, its allies, maybe moderate Arab nations that helped us in the recent Iranian attack when Iran launched 350 ballistic missiles, including drones and other cruise missiles at Israel? Are we going to see a joint offensive against Iran now with all these United States forces that are in the region and more are coming in? We have reports of additional 1,000 U.S. Soldiers coming into this region. Are we going to use all these forces in order to finish the job and to cut off the head of the snake, which is Iran, that is causing all this trouble for this region?
That's a great question, Yael. As you mentioned, everyone is looking towards Israel and its biggest ally in this region, the United States, to see what the next steps are going to be. To recap on what we talked about yesterday, immediately when Iran, and again, people might imagine this Iranian attack came as a surprise. It wasn't a surprise. They warned Israel, they warned the US, and they warned apparently several other allies, unofficially, of course, that this attack was coming. Israel, in response, told them in advance, said, we're not going to accept this as retaliation for the previous assassinations of Hassan Nasrallah, Ismail Haniyeh, and others that have been killed by Israel in recent weeks and months, I guess, now that we think about it. And we said to the Iranians publicly, we said, this will go answered. There will be no attack that will go unanswered. And every attack that you make on the state of Israel will be responded to with great force on strategic facilities within Iran. And what's interesting when you talk about the alliance is that Israel isn't alone in this. Oftentimes, when you look at the international intervention or rhetoric on this topic, you'll hear people call for a quiet resolution. You'll hear people and countries, especially the UN, call for restraint. We call on both sides to show restraint and so on and so forth. This wasn't the case this time. The American government stood alongside Israel, saying we will support a retaliation on Iranian soil specifically to this type of attack. More so, we're hearing, and again, we don't have all the information, that the American armed forces were part of the defense of yesterday's attack, probably in intelligence and in other measures. So unlike other cases, this has been a substantial escalation. It has been Iran upping their level of attacks on Israel, and Israel publicly, clearly stated in advance that there will be no tit-for-tat response as it has happened previously. We're not just going to take this lying down and expect that this is sort of a business as usual effect. No, that's not happening. The state of Israel, both Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, also our chief of staff, they all strongly said, we are going to retaliate and it's going to be painful. You have no idea what is coming your way. And what that can look like, here's the theories that have been floating in recent days. It can be an attack on strategic facilities, oil refineries, fuel storage facilities, port facilities within Iran. Again, the lifeline of the Iranian economy really is their oil export. They are a country that is hugely dependent on foreign cash, as all countries are, and the way they make their money is not with technology and not anything else. It's with oil dollars that they sell to the Chinese and other countries that are willing to bypass the boycotts. So that threat is a valid threat. If Israel is able to knock out several of their oil storage and refinery facilities, that will put a substantial dent in their financial operations. Let's go to what's been happening in southern Lebanon. Southern Lebanon today, as we mentioned, we went from special forces operations to two full divisions that are now operating within southern Lebanon, armored vehicles, special forces, infantry units, air force, artillery, everything. Everyone is in there, everyone is operating. And we're hearing initial reports of injuries on the Israeli side, IDF soldiers within. I want to correct the name. We previously mispronounced it. The first official casualty within southern Lebanon is Captain Eitan Ostel from the Egoz unit, which is a special mountaineering unit created exactly for this purpose, to fight deep within the mountains of southern Lebanon. He was a team leader within the Egoz unit. We're hearing of several injured soldiers, and again, fierce fighting within southern Lebanon, with now thousands of Israeli forces fighting within the country, clearing out Hezbollah weapon depots, stations, and working towards a peaceful end for this war, specifically for the Israeli civilians who want to return to their homes in northern Israel.
Yes, Mati, definitely. And so far we see that the forces of the IDF were able to identify and neutralize 150 terror installations, terror facilities of Hezbollah along the border with Israel. This is a few hundred meters from the Israeli communities, just so you understand the reason that the IDF needs to operate and to move forces into South Lebanon in order to retrieve the safety, the security of its citizens on the northern border communities. The IDF needs to physically be there. Guys, I've been to the Gaza Strip, and airstrikes can do a lot of damage, but when you have a tunnel that is 50 meters deep underground in a soil, like in Lebanon, that is basically bedrock, it's very hard to destroy it with a bunker buster. You need to be accurate within the meter in order for it to cause damage to an underground tunnel or facility. And that's why you need soldiers, you need boots on the ground in these areas. And that's what the IDF is doing. And that's why the forces are moving in. Hopefully, this will be ended very soon, with Hezbollah withdrawing to the north or surrendering or reaching some kind of international agreement that will end the fighting. This is the goal, but we know that without applying pressure, these terrorist organizations do not understand diplomacy like the Western leadership understands. And I want to read a few of the international reactions that we received since these attacks. So the Pentagon condemned Iran's missiles attacks, while the United Kingdom and other Western allies reaffirmed their support for Israel's right to defend itself. And we have also additional reports from Germany that called for the Iranian ambassador to the German foreign ministry for a talk about the situation following the missile attacks. And Germany also condemned the attack and stated that nothing can justify this attack. We are calling for on Iran to refrain from additional attacks, including attacks from Iranian allies against Israel. And this goes along with this fact that this war is also a spiritual war, because we see the spirit of evil, of deception. Israel was attacked with 180 ballistic missiles and a lot more missiles in the past year. And still, countries around the world are calling on Israel to stop the fighting, to reach a ceasefire. We don't want to fight. Right, Mati? We want to live here. We have a holiday evening dinner just coming up in a few hours. We want to enjoy it with our family, spend a quiet weekend without waking up in the middle of the night and running to bomb shelters like we did yesterday. Yesterday, just, I don't know if you guys watched the live yesterday, immediately after the rockets, the sirens, me and my family were in the bomb shelters, including the grandparents. All of us went into the bomb shelter, which is in my house, the baby's room. In every house in Israel, almost in every house, there is a bomb shelter. One room is designated to be a bomb shelter because this is the situation here, this is the life, and we don't want it to be the future for our kids forever. We want to live here peacefully.
Yes. Yeah, let's take this opportunity to thank everyone who's joined us on this live so far. It's been incredibly encouraging to see all the people with us in the comments. I'm looking on the YouTube channel, and I want to invite everyone who's watching this now, take 1 second, pause the video even, or just as we're talking about this, share, like, and subscribe. It means the world to us. We're aiming to hit 1 million subscribers, not just because the number is important, because it shows us that we're able to reach people around the world with the truth of what's happening here in Israel. It's something we deeply care about. Drop a like. There's also a way with a super like to leave a small donation on the YouTube channel as we speak to continue contributing and creating content here in Israel. And we love doing that. We love creating content. We love sharing with the people at home what's been happening here. Let's take a minute to recap what's been happening in this recent season here in the land. We're at the end of almost a year of fighting. It's a year next Tuesday, since October 7th last year. Israel has essentially dismantled Hamas resistance, at least in a organized manner, in the Gaza Strip. Israel has been fighting on multiple fronts with allies from around the world, both with the Americans and the British and several other countries, including Arab countries in the Middle East. We've been fighting and bombing in Yemen, in Iran, in Lebanon, in Syria, deep in Syria, engaging directly with the forces of Iran, something that has never happened before. We've transitioned in this war from a proxy war to a direct war with multiple enemies around the world. Right now, Israeli forces are fighting in southern Lebanon to push back Hezbollah forces, specifically their special forces that have been waiting at the border to invade and kill Israeli civilians in the northern part of the country. Israel has eliminated Hassan Nasrallah, Ismail Haniyeh, and countless others who are the heads of Hezbollah, IRGC officials, and others. We've kidnapped Iranian engineers deep in the Syrian desert and taken them who knows where. It's been an intense war. And so far, God has been faithful and protected the people of Israel. Right now, we're a day after a unprecedented attack by the Iranians on Israel, almost 200 rockets that were launched with no casualties within the state of Israel. We're a day after a terrorist attack in the heart of the country in Jaffa, on one of the main roads in the city, where two armed gunmen affiliated with Hamas, who came out of Judea and Samaria, killed murdered 7 Israeli innocent civilians in the streets as an act of brutal terrorism. So again, it has been an intense and incredible time. And as we near the new Jewish year, this is the time for reflection, to look back at everything that has happened and appreciate how much we're hoping for a better year the next year. But again, how incredible God's protection has been these last 12 months.
Yes, definitely. The past 24 hours have seen an escalation in this conflict for sure, Mati. From ballistic missile strikes launched by Iran to the terror attack in Jaffa, Israel remains under siege from all sides, including even from Yemen, from the Houthis in Yemen. But the resilience and the strength of our military are greater than ever. Our air defense systems have proven their worth, and our ground forces are taking the fight to Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. This is the situation. The government of Israel has made it clear that Iran's actions will not go unpunished. Israel will respond with strength, and we are already seeing plans for a retaliatory strike in Iran. The next few days will be critical as we navigate this multi-front war. Mati, I think this is a time to say really, Chag Sameach, Happy
Shana
New
Tova.
Year. Yeah, Shana
Shana
Tova
Tova.
to all our viewers. And we really wish that this year will be a better year than the year we had before, a year of peace, a year of prosperity for this region. And it's possible. It's possible for us and for the moderate Arab states to have a fruitful economic relationships and partnerships between the people. The people of Iran are good. They want peace with Israel. The people of Lebanon are good, but all these countries are ruled by these terrorist organizations that seek nothing but destroying Israel. So I ask all of you to join us in prayer as this new year is about to start, this new Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. Pray for an IDF soldier, one IDF soldier, make it personal. Pray for one hostage that is still kept in the Gaza Strip. We have 101 hostages in the Gaza Strip, and we want them to come back home this year, soon, very soon. Pray for wisdom to our leaders, wisdom to your leaders, because Israel cannot fight this war and win this war alone. We need help from our allies. And the most important thing that you could do is to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And thank you again, Mati, for being with me, and thank you to all our viewers for joining us.
Thank you, Yael. And I want to bless you and all our viewers. We say in Hebrew, Tachel Shana v'Birkoteh. May a year begin with all its blessings. May this be a year of protection, of peace, and of blessing to the people of Israel and all people around the world. That is my prayer today, and the prayers of every home in this country as we enter into the new Jewish year.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.